Okay, let me ask you a question. Would you rather have 100,000 naira in your hand right now or 100,000 naira that quietly works for you year after year, even while you sleep? The difference between those two choices, well, that's compound interest. And I promise you, once you really get this, you'll never look at money the same way again.
What's going on, finance people? It's Josh here. Welcome back to JoshLM Finance. Let's break this down. So today, I want to talk about one of the most powerful and, honestly, most underrated tools for building long-term wealth. We're not talking about hyper complicated math, just simple, real-life examples that you can actually use. All right, let's jump right in. What exactly is compound interest? What is this so-called engine for your money?
It's actually pretty simple. It means you earn interest not just on your original money, but also on the interest that your money has already made. So you see, instead of your money growing in a flat, straight line, it starts to curve upwards. It's slow at first, then it gets a little faster, and then, all of a sudden, it gets surprisingly fast. That's why people call it interest on interest.
Now, you've probably heard this quote before. People always say it's from Albert Einstein. And you know what? Maybe he said it, maybe he didn't, who knows? But the idea behind it, man, that is solid. It basically says that compounding rewards patience, and it seriously punishes impatience. That's a powerful idea to keep in mind.
Let's make this super simple. Imagine you invest $100 at 5%. With simple interest, you just get $5 every year. So after 10 years, you've got your original 100 plus 50 in interest, $150. Easy. But with compound interest, that same $100 is earning interest on top of its own interest. So after 10 years, you don't have 150, you have about 163. Now, I know $13 doesn't sound like a big deal, but trust me, when you scale that up over a longer time or with more money, that gap becomes absolutely massive.
And that brings me to the most important point. Seriously, this is the part that I think blows most people's minds. With compound interest, how much you start with isn't nearly as important as how early you start.
The best way to think about it is like a tiny snowball at the top of a really long hill. When it first starts rolling, it's small. You might even look at it and think, is this even doing anything? But the longer it rolls, the more snow it picks up, and it just gets bigger and faster and bigger. That's why consistency, it just totally beats trying to be brilliant when it comes to long-term investing.
Okay, so the theory is cool and all, but let's talk about how this actually plays out in the real world with real investments.
Let's talk about the stock market for a second. Historically, the U.S. stock market, if you look at the S&P 500, has returned about 7% per year on average, and that's after you account for inflation. You can find this data from places like Vanguard and Morningstar going back nearly 100 years. It's a really solid benchmark. So now, watch what happens. If you took just $100, invested it at that 7% rate, and just left it alone for 30 years, that single $100 bill would turn into roughly $760. You didn't do any extra work, you didn't have to trade stocks every day, you just gave it time. Now imagine scaling that up. That's the magic behind retirement accounts and index funds.
Okay, let's bring this home to Nigeria, because this isn't just a US thing. It's a universal principle of money. Here, you can see compounding in action with things like Treasury Bills, or even some high-yield savings accounts.
So, let's say you invest 100,000 naira at 10% a year, which is actually pretty conservative with recent rates. In just 10 years, that 100,000 grows to about 259,000 naira. But here's the key. You have to reinvest those returns. You can't just spend them. Think about Treasury Bills, especially the 364-day ones. It's a perfect real-world cycle. You earn your return, you roll it over into a new one, and you repeat. That's compounding.
So right about now, you're probably thinking, okay, Josh, I get it. So what do I actually need to do to make this work for me? Well, it really just boils down to 3 simple rules.
So look, if you don't remember anything else from this explainer, please remember these 3 things. Number 1, start early. Even if it feels like a ridiculously small amount, just start. 2, reinvest your earnings. You have to let the snowball keep rolling. And 3, be patient. Compounding hates shortcuts. All those get-rich-quick stories are always loud and flashy, but real wealth building, it just works quietly in the background.
And hey, just a quick reminder here, none of this is financial advice. My goal is just to give you some education and some real-world examples so you can make smarter decisions for your own situation. Always think about your own goals and your own risk tolerance.
Look, compound interest is not going to make you rich by next week. It's not a lottery ticket, but over your lifetime, it is one of the most proven, reliable paths to building real, sustainable wealth. So I guess the question I want to leave you with is this. Right now, what choice is your money making? Is it just sitting still, or is it out there compounding for your future?
Thanks for watching till the end. If this helped you, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.